Alright, while I'm out here, I want to do just another quick review on this titanium 125. I've gotten to use it a little bit more than what I did in my first video. In my first video, I just had built the archway with it and a few little things here and there. Now, I've gotten to use it quite a bit more. I just finished up this steel fencing back here. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. But anyways, I welded the entire thing with this. It took me about like 2.5 spools of welding wire. That last spool, I don't know, I think it's the wire. It was just giving me a lot of fits, porosity, catching a lot. I think I'm going to switch over to some Lincoln wire just because I don't want to have failures on my welds. That was the other thing. I was having some cracking in some of my welds. And some of it makes sense, like where they cracked, I anticipated it because we were putting a lot of force on those welds at the time, and I hadn't welded them solid. I just ran like some 1 inch, 1 inch, inch and a half long beads in there to hold it in place. And when we were moving that pipe around and pulling it with the skid steer and lifting it to get it all to line up, I knew we were going to break some welds. But I also broke one weld that was like 2 inches long, and it looked like a good weld. So I'm going to switch over to the Lincoln wire and see if that makes a difference. It is a little bit more, but when I'm out welding on customers' stuff, I want it to be good. If it was my stuff, I can fix that stuff whenever I have to. But where this is livestock fencing and somebody else's, he's a paying customer, I don't want him to have failures. I don't want his cows to bust through and get out on the road. We're right next to a highway here. That's one of the last things I want. I want these welds to be solid. So I am going to switch over to some Lincoln wire. I don't think we'll have any problems now that we're done pushing and pulling on this fence, but I might go through with some 7018 on the cope joints and a couple other places just to make sure. But anyways, enough of me rambling about wire. I really am super impressed with this. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this thing has been dragged through the mud. As you can see, it's snowy out here. I did not, muddy this up in any way for YouTube purposes. This is just how it's been in the field. There's the bottom. It's been sitting on mud. I've dragged this thing through the snow. There's the leads. As you can see, I need to put a new thing on the end. But it's held up really well. I've bashed it against a post a couple of times. I just flung it over the fence by the shoulder strap today a couple of times. And then today, walking along this fence, finishing up some welds, I actually just put it on my shoulder. And I think this fence is 80 feet long. And just walked all the way along it with my shoulder. It just works great. It's the perfect size for stuff like this. And it seems to be, as long as you have a big enough generator or good enough power from like a barn or something, or 110 power, it has no problem welding this oil field pipe. As you can see, I got some of this oil field 2 3/8 oil field pipe here. That's a diagonal cut, so it looks a little bit thicker, and we're getting to the point where it tapers out a little bit for those threads. But it really does a nice job for what it is. I really cannot believe it. I bought this thing for the specific purpose of doing the light gauge continuous fence panels because the 6010 was way too much. I could have got some 332 6010 and done it, but it was, I think, $100 for a 50-pound box of 332 6010. and this was $125 when I bought it. The spools are like $12. Great, to me, a great investment. It's held up extremely well. This thing has never seen the inside of a shop. It's lived its life in my equipment trailer and outside in the field welding. And I'm not careful with this thing. I use it. I throw it in the mud, I throw it in the dirt, I drag it along behind me, and it just keeps going. It's not your shop welder. It doesn't sit on a cart and look pretty. This thing has been used and abused pretty good. I don't know if we've got any mud up in here, but it doesn't look like it. This all seems to be pretty good, but you can see there's some mud by those fins for the fan. There's mud on the bottom. Back doesn't look too bad, but I really am just really, really impressed with this little welder for what it's been doing out here. It's been great. So I also want to talk about this Vulcan hood that I've got. I got this a few weeks ago. I did a short little review on it when I first got it. Go check that out. And when I did the review, I told you I wasn't gonna baby this thing. I was gonna use it and abuse it and see how it worked. As you can see, it's gotten some mud today. It's gotten scratches from tree branches and the like, pipe, all sorts of stuff. As you can see, the inside, I got some snow on the inside, some mud, but it's working great. I like the headgear. The headgear's nice. The plastic seems to be really tough. I've bumped my head against some pretty decent branches and the top rail on the fence, and it just keeps going. I haven't cracked it. Battery life seems to be good so far. I haven't used a ton, but so far it's extremely reliable, just like the titanium. So anyways, hope you guys liked this video. If you have any comments or questions, let me know. And again, I think if you're looking for a welder just to do some hobby stuff or out in the field like I'm doing with a generator and some oil pipe fence, and it's nothing super critical, look into this thing. I mean, it's just done great. It's so nice not having to drag 150 feet of lead out from my stick welder and having to lug that around. It just makes it so nice to just pack this little tiny thing into the corral, throw it over my shoulder on a 100-foot extension cord, and do as much welding as I want. I did a 10-inch long weld with this today, vertical up, no problems, didn't overheat, had plenty of power from the 6,500 watt generator. So I think you could probably run this on like a 4,500 watt generator. I wouldn't go any smaller than that. I think if you're looking to do something like this with having a generator and a welder and just running it off of drop cords, I would look into like a 6,500 watt generator. Or if you're going to look into a multi-process machine, generally those require about like 10,000 watts to run on 220. If you're going to do it right. Just go ahead and get that 10,000 watt generator right off the bat. Don't try and run the 110 off of the 6,500 watts. I've tried that. I've gotten it to work on my Everlast, but it doesn't work great. But for this, the 6,500 watts is more than enough. I think you could probably get by on like 4,500. I don't know. I don't have a generator that small to try it on. But 6,500 watts for this thing is perfect. I've never overheated it, never had lack of power. It's just run really, really good. So, big thumbs up on the Titanium 125. I highly recommend it if you're looking for just a hobby welder or just a backup welder or wire feed for out in the field. This thing's great. It's small, it's light, and it's tough, and it's cheap. You break it, You spend $175 and go get a new one. I should have got the warranty on this. I did not get the warranty because at the time I thought, I won't use it that much. Well, now I'm using it pretty much every day when I'm out welding stuff. So get the warranty. That way, in case you break it, you can go grab a new one. But so far, no problems. If I do break it, I'll go buy another one, get the warranty, and keep on trucking. So hope you liked this. Leave any questions or comments down below. Thanks.